Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Hot Action Podcast. It is week 3 of the NFL regular season, and it is time for me to do a little victory lap. Alright? We're just going to do a little review of how my picks went for last week. My against the spread bets went 11-5. Not bad. My best bets went 4-1, and for posterity's sake, we'll name them again. We put Pittsburgh, Miami, Dallas, Detroit, and Minnesota. And another bet that I got right, or another prediction in the win column, is I predicted that Seattle would not cover, and that Seattle would screw me, and of course they did. I just can't ever really get it right when I gamble on them. I don't think I'm going to be fading them for my best bets. They will not return this season unless I absolutely have a feeling. And then, of course, that will come back to bite me. So let's review what happened in the games here. We had Minnesota, Philadelphia. We won that one by half a point. Felt really lucky to do that. Except, if Justin Jefferson had held on to the ball at the end of the first half there, that could have been a very different score. Felt pretty good about betting Minnesota. Philadelphia's a good team, though. They can handle their business. Thursday night games tend to be a little sloppy, so taking a lot of points, I think, is generally a good idea, but we'll see how that goes this week. Tampa Bay versus Chicago. Tampa Bay smoked them. Easy win. Chicago, I continue to pick on them. They are real bad. Atlanta plus 1.5. That worked out. That was a nail biter. Went down to the very end. Green Bay looks pretty respectable considering they've got a, not a rookie quarterback, but an early in career quarterback. So does Atlanta, but, that was a hard-fought battle. Indianapolis minus 1.5 worked out. They beat up on Houston pretty bad, but I think Houston is among one of the worst teams. That's, chalk that one up in the W column. I bet against my boys. Seattle won the game outright, which, it's always embarrassing to bet against your team and have them win when they are a dog. We'll see if I can learn my lesson. We'll see if I can, win some bets on Seattle going forward, but the odds are I won't be able to, so we will be taking them out of the best bets going forward. I have to bet on them because I pick every game against the spread. But, so far 0-2. Can't figure it out. Tennessee continues to chug along. They're another win against the spread. They win the game outright. The Chargers are 0-2 and just, unable to make anything happen. I love betting against the Chargers. Baltimore comes in as underdogs and beats Cincinnati outright. Cincinnati is in trouble. They, Joe Burrow's a bit banged up. They can't get anything going on defense. Things aren't looking great for them. I think they, surprisingly, considering they've been an elite team the last few years, they might be a team we pick on going forward. Vegas plus 8.5 was a bad bet. Buffalo is not as bad as they looked against the Jets. Josh Allen's out there swagging, jumping over people, just absolutely dealing. Sometimes he looks like, he's lost his mind a bit, but we'll take the good with the bad. Buffalo is a good team. I have to apologize to them. Also, another good team I bet against, foolishly, Kansas City Chiefs. I think I said last week that I would feel like an idiot when they inevitably lost this game, but I had a feeling about Jacksonville, and I was wrong. But if they had converted on any of their 4 chances in, the red zone, I wouldn't feel dumb, and they would have at least covered, if not won the game, if, converting a 2-pointer or whatever. So, I don't feel that bad about it. San Francisco versus the Rams. I took the Rams. That was an amazingly bad beat for anyone who took San Francisco minus 7.5. Sean McVay is clearly on the take, kicking field goals at the end of the game to cover and, decrease your chance at winning is really cool. I think head coaches should do that more. New York Giants at Arizona. I took the Cardinals and they covered. They took the against the spread lead, I believe, of 33.5 points, and the Giants were only able to score 31 unanswered points from that point on. So, Arizona's they're 0-2 on the real scoreboard, but I believe they're 2-0 on the covers. So, maybe they're more feisty than we think. Maybe they'll, not win a game this season and they'll cover every week. We'll see. New York Jets plus 9.5 at Dallas, at Dallas minus 9.5. We took Dallas. Dallas, absolutely just like clockwork. This team is unbelievable. I think they're the best defense in the NFL. I know it's only been 2 weeks, but I like to get ahead of myself. When you see something like this is going on, you just got to ride the wave. Get on Dallas wherever you can. They are taking fools behind the woodshed. All right. Washington at Denver. We took Denver. That looked really good early days, but then Washington came back and showed Denver that they are in fact bad. Sean Payton is 0-2. Russell Wilson's 0-2. This is a bad scenario. I really don't know how to bet Denver. I thought they would be more respectable than this, but they've lost 2 weeks in a row to not very good teams, so they might be down in the very basement. I thought they were going to be a mid-tier team, but they can't even manage mid. And then Miami, went to New England, got the job done. This team is good. That's one thing that I predicted at the beginning of the year, that this Miami team would be scrappy, and they are scrapping it. As long as Tua stays healthy, we're going to continue to ride with the Dolphins, baby. Okay, and we took Carolina plus 2.5, which ended up losing to New Orleans. They lost by 3, which is interesting because elsewhere, on the betting app that I use, I got plus 3, which pushed, and then other people I know got plus 3.5, which won. So, you got to pay attention to those spreads. We're not just picking winners here. The spread matters quite a bit. If you see those spreads change, be very ready to jump on them because, especially when it crosses that 3-point or it crosses the 7-point plane, that's what true sharps know. I am not a sharp, I'm a dummy, but that's what people that know what they're talking about will say. When it crosses those very regular, differences that teams would theoretically win by, like 1 field goal or 1 touchdown, that dramatically increases your chances of winning with the points. And then Pittsburgh, we took plus 1.5 over Cleveland. Cleveland, despite winning in week 1, I think they look pretty bad. This contract situation for Watson looks, like a terrible misallocation of resources. And going forward, we'll see about Cleveland. They still have a very talented roster. I wouldn't be surprised if they were respectable, but I don't think they're a top-tier team like some people were predicting at the beginning of the year. All right, I'm just going to, celebrate a game that I did 11-5 this week. Celebrate the 4-1 in the best bets. And if I didn't mention it before, of course, we survived week 3. In Survivor is nothing to be super stoked about, but not being out is good. All right, let's move forward to this week. All right, we will be starting picking against the spread. Then I will give my best bets, and then finally I will pick my Survivor pick for this week. And we will be starting with Thursday Night Football. I mentioned earlier that the points can be tasty in Thursday Night Football, but I feel like this Giants team, maybe they figured it out in the second half against Arizona, but they have been god-awful. I do not really care that they beat one of the worst teams in the league. I think the San Francisco team is the real deal. We're going with the heavy home favorites. Also, don't forget that San Francisco's at home and that the Giants are bad. that's the thesis. So we're gonna take the huge spread. 10.5 is a lot of points. When you give up all those points and you lose, they take away your sharp card. So it feels very dangerous to pick them. All right. Then we've got Indianapolis at Baltimore. Again, I feel like Baltimore's been a real tough out so far. I don't know if they've played world beaters, so 7.5 point spread might be, a little bit generous, but we're going to go ahead and take them. Again, with these bad teams, I just feel like it's the move to just bet against them until, something happens. And again, Miami is one of these teams that I like. I'm going to jump on that. Now we got a divisional matchup here. Sometimes you just want to take the points in a divisional matchup, but I feel like this 0-2 New England team hasn't looked like an 0-2 team to me. They've just gone up against really good teams. This Jets team, who knows what they are at this point without Rodgers. I thought they were going to be respectable, but without Rodgers, I don't think they are. I'm going to take New England. So far, it's all favorites. That might be a bad decision, but we're going to keep that trend going and pick Jacksonville minus 9.5 against Houston. Houston's really bad. Jacksonville's at least respectable. They're playing at home. This Houston team, I think Stroud will end up being a good quarterback. He seems to be feeding his guys, Nico Collins especially, decently, but I just don't think the team is ready to compete yet. They'll need to have a few more solid drafts, and they'll be a team ready to go and do some stuff, but that's not today. Jacksonville's good. I think they'll get the job done. But at this point, I'm almost starting the week with negative 40 points deficit. Maybe not the best gambling strategy. We'll see how it goes. All right. And, great. We'll get the opportunity to narrow that deficit a bit by taking Tennessee plus 3.5. Because, we don't like Cleveland much. Tennessee's been really good in these tight games. I believe they're 2-0 against the spread, but, I don't do a lot of research for this show. We are a vibes-based program. So we'll be picking Tennessee. And, Detroit is at home. I think that they are more respectable than I imagined to start the year. Atlanta's also kind of respectable. This is kind of a toss-up to me. We did mention that crossing the line over 3.5 is, advantageous. Let's go with that. We'll take Atlanta plus 3.5. Now we've got New Orleans at Green Bay minus 1.5. I think I will be taking New Orleans. They've looked pretty sturdy so far. Green Bay, I wouldn't be surprised if they came in and managed to win at home, but I think Green Bay, I don't have a great feel about this game, but I'll be taking New Orleans. All right, now we got Buffalo at Washington. We're going to continue to take favorites here. I don't really like what I've seen out of Washington all that much. They are 2-0, but I feel it's slightly fraudulent. But you do have the opportunity to bet on a 2-0 home dog with almost a touchdown of spread. Not bad, but I think Buffalo's, going to come in here and start to try to right the ship. They're going to want to, at least start putting the pressure on Miami in the division. And now we've got Chargers at Minnesota. Both teams without wins that have kind of looked, like they're potentially competent teams despite not being able to win games yet. Being that Minnesota is at home and the dog by 0.5 point, I'll take them. You like to take home dogs. I don't think either one of these teams really deserves a strong claim at being favored. So I think that 0.5 point line is very fair. But since Minnesota's at home, I'll take them. Carolina plus 5.5 against Seattle minus 5.5. I think Carolina's looked pretty bad, but they managed to hang in there with New Orleans with a smaller spread. Whenever I feel like something's gonna happen, I felt like Seattle would win. I'm gonna Costanza mode, go to Carolina plus 5.5. That will not be in my best bets. That being said, the reason I do this is that Carolina came into Seattle last year, beat us, and I believe that was without Christian McCaffrey. So they've upgraded at quarterback. I'm scared of this Carolina team. If I had to, gun to my head, I think Seattle will win the game, but I do think Carolina is in danger of covering, so I'm going to do that. Now, Kansas City versus Chicago. Easy bet. Kansas City, minus 12.5. Don't care. Make this... You could make the spread 18. I'm taking Kansas City. I think Chicago is one of the worst teams. You've got the quarterback giving press conferences, blaming the coaches about how bad he's playing. Nothing looks right. This team's shambles. Kansas City is the Super Bowl champions, and they're going into other people's houses and beating teams that are slated to win the division, that type of thing. They obviously did not beat Detroit in week 1, but I think just knocking the rust off. 2 of their best 3 players weren't playing in that game, and they're both back. So I think it's easy bet. Kansas City, let's go. And again, I'm addicted to picking favorites. Dallas at Arizona. Dallas minus 12.5. We're taking Dallas. Arizona have been cover machines, but so have Dallas. I think Dallas might just absolutely run up the score on these fools. Arizona, they've been covering, but they look like absolute dog shit. So I think, again, this is one of those lines where you could make it 20. I'm taking Dallas. Now we've got Pittsburgh at Las Vegas. I will be taking the points. Pittsburgh plus 1.5. Seems like an easy scenario to me. Las Vegas has looked really inconsistent. They did beat Denver, and that was a cover for them. But then, they got smoked by the Bills. This will be a bit more of a slobber knocker, I bet, between Pittsburgh and Vegas. Like a little more back and forth. Kind of like the way they played against Denver. But at the end of the day, I like taking the points because I really don't have a great feeling about this game. So, points are never bad. Philadelphia versus Tampa on Monday night, or the first of the 2 Monday night games, starting at 4:15 West Coast time. Now, Philadelphia is 2-0, Tampa Bay are 2-0. They're both undefeated. One of these teams will leave undefeated, and I am predicting that will be Tampa. I don't think they'll be covering. Philly, is looking pretty solid. If they can figure out what they're doing in the passing game, quite often this team is kind of like playing with such a huge lead by like the third quarter. It doesn't matter what's going on in the fourth quarter, but I do not suspect a backdoor cover by Tampa, even though that's what I would be afraid of in terms of Tampa's like thesis for covering. So we're going Philly 2-0, minus 5.5. Next up, and finally for this week, for week 3, we've got the Rams at Cincinnati. The Rams have been crazy scrappy. They are 2-0 against the spread. They've got Aaron Donald. Cincinnati's got a hobbled quarterback and an injured O-line, if I remember correctly. If the O-line isn't injured, they are behaving like they are. I'm going to be taking the Rams. We've got Puka Nacua. We got Matt Stafford. We got Aaron Donald. That's all we need, baby. This Rams team has surprised me. I thought they were going to be terrible. But when you see things happen in front of your eyes, you have to respect that and change your mind. Even though I hate the Rams, I believe they will be victorious on Monday night. All right, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put what kind of tiebreaker should I put in here? The average is 43. I'm going to go well under that. Let's say 35. Total of 5 touchdowns. A low-scoring affair. All right. Now that that's over, I will let you know my picks of the week, or my best bets, I should say. We've got Miami -6.5, Philadelphia -5.5, Rams +1.5, Tennessee +3.5, and Dallas -12.5. And now that that is done, I will be picking Kansas City as my survivor pick. Wish me luck. Surviving till week 3 or till week 4 will be, that'll be a big breakthrough. I think that'll probably mean, I would imagine over half of the league will be gone by that point. Maybe even 3/4. I will give you an update on that next week. And, good luck to any of you guys betting. If you're liking what I'm doing, please hit like and subscribe. If you got any questions or comments, leave them in the comments below. And yeah, if you don't like my picks, yell at me. If you followed my picks last week and you made a bunch of money, say thank you. Because, I'm doing this for y'all. So the least you can do is say thank you. That's it. That's it for me. This has been the Hot Action Podcast. Come back next week. Peace.